building ethical leaders for sustainable future. It is with profound joy and deep sense of gratitude that I, on behalf of the committed advocates of integrity initiative and the esteemed partners, warmly welcome you all to the National Integrity Summit 5.0, a landmark event in our collective quest to promote transparency, accountability, and ethical leadership in Nigeria. This year's summit theme, integrity is everything, building ethical leaders for sustainable future, could not have come at a more defining moment. We are living in a time when moral values are being tested and leadership integrity is under serious scrutiny. Hence, this gathering is not just a celebration, it is a solemn affirmation of our conviction that integrity remains the foundation upon which great nations and enduring legacies are built. Permit me to specially commend our youth corps members who participated in the Integrity in Leadership workshop and a transformative training designed to nurture young Nigerians with values of honesty, discipline, and moral courage. Today, as you are being inducted as integrity champions for tomorrow, I charge you to henceforth see yourself as agent of change. Young leaders whose lifestyle and professional conduct should positively impact society and inspire your contemporaries. Let your character and your actions speak louder than your words. Let your service to humanity reflect selflessness, and your ambition be guided by moral principles. The future of our nation rests on the shoulder of young leaders like you, and it is your integrity that will determine how far Nigeria will go in achieving her aspiration. To those who are being honored today with the Integrity Ambassador Award, I offer my henceforth congratulations. Your recognition today is not merely an award, but an acknowledgement of your lifestyle and conduct that reflect honesty, fairness, and uprightness. You have shown through your words and deeds that integrity is not outdated, it is timeless. I encourage you to continue to live by example, to uphold these values, and to inspire all who look up to you. Your life must remain a beacon of hope, proof that doing right still matters, and that leadership anchored on character remains the surest path to sustainable success. Today's success is a testimony of collective effort, unwavering faith, and consistent support. Therefore, I want to sincerely thank all those who have contributed to the growth and sustenance of this noble initiative. To our esteemed partners, the Independent Corrupt Practices and other related offences commission, ICPC, the Minister of Youth Development, and other organizations and institutions who supported this noble initiative. We deeply appreciate your collaboration, encouragement, and institutional support over the years. To our resource persons, facilitators, volunteers, and members of the planning committee, thank you for your time, commitment, and invaluable contribution towards making this event a success. To all our distinguished guests who have taken time out of their busy schedule to be with us today, we say thank you. Your presence reinforces the importance of what we stand for and strengthens our shared resolve to build a better Nigeria founded on trust and ethical leadership. As we celebrate how far we have come, we must also look ahead with renewed determination the work of promoting integrity and raising ethical leaders is a continuous process that demands consistency, sacrifice, and partnership. I therefore appeal to well-meaning Nigerians, government institutions, corporate bodies, and international development organizations to continue to support this noble cause. Your moral, financial, and institutional backing will help sustain this initiative, train more young people, and spread the message of integrity to every sector and community across our nation. Today, we can nurture a culture where doing right things becomes the norm, not the exception. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, integrity remains the soul of leadership and the cornerstone of national development. Without it, trust erodes, progress stops, and hope fades. Let this summit renew our individual and collective commitment to trust, transparency, and service. Let it remind us that integrity is not a mere virtue, it is everything. On this note, I welcome you once again to the National Integrity Summit 5.0. May today deliberation ignite a strong passion for ethical leadership and inspire all of us to become living examples of integrity in action. Thank you, and God bless you. God bless the federal government.
So next, we'll be calling on the ICPC to do their presentation. A goodwill message from the ICPC chairman, who is here represented by Deputy Director Kingsley Obi. Please, let's put our hands together for him.
Let me start by, on a personal note, congratulate Charles for this summit. When I was the head of external cooperation, that was last year. So that's when he mooted the idea of this summit. And today it has become a reality. So I'm personally happy for him when he came to the commission talking about this summit. So today is a reality, and I congratulate him for his doggedness and as well as focus in the fight, with respect to the fight against corruption. You know, we are praying for the day we'll have somebody that will turn the anti-corruption message to a mission. I know that one day we'll succeed in getting that done. When we turn it to a mission, then we know we're on the right track to tackle corruption in Nigeria. Having said that, let me as well, I know that he's my chairman's friend, so let me thank him for being here. You know, Rafsanjani. So he's a friend of the chairman, so that he will not go and tell chairman you did not recognize me. So and everyone here, I sincerely welcome you to this very summit. Now the chairman's goodwill message. So I am delighted to contribute to this national dialogue on building ethical leaders for a sustainable future. I commend Kadi and co-partners on this summit for their tireless efforts in promoting a new generation of ethical conscious leaders and commitment to advancing sustainable integrity. Your dedication to building a culture of integrity is essential in the fight against corruption and in fostering a more trustworthy and responsible leaders. Of course, during the training for the core members, we identify integrity as one thing that is lacking in the leadership we have today, and we pray that one day we'll get over this. This year's theme resonates with the ICPC's mandate, which is aimed at promoting good governance, enhancing public trust, ensuring accountability, transparency and integrity in public service. ICPC played a crucial role in holding government officials accountable by investigating allegations of corruption, recovering stolen assets, and ensuring that public resources are used for benefits of citizens. Over the years, we have partnered with NGOs, CSOs, and other stakeholders to incorporate to a large extent a culture of integrity and accountability in public service through initiatives such as Constituency and Executive Project Tracking Initiative and National Anti-Corruption Coalition, NSCC, a platform for partnering and collaborating with NGOs. We've been able to improve service delivery and democratic dividend. Of course, this Constituency and Executive Project Tracking Initiative, perhaps Anjani will know that it pitched us against the National Assembly and the executives. This issue of constituency projects and other projects, and NGOs have been partnering with us to make sure there is a value for money. Recently, we launched the Accountability and Corruption Prevention Program for local governments with the intention of tackling systemic corruption and promoting transparency at the grassroots level. Of course, there are programs we are doing now at the CG zones with respect to helping the local government council to account for the money that is being directly given to them. The program focuses on enhancing financial management, transparency, and proactive disclosures at the local government level. As we gather to discuss the importance of ethical leadership, let us strive to reaffirm our commitment to building a corruption-free society where leaders prioritize the well-being of citizens and the nation. Once again, I appreciate the organizers and all distinguished participants. Together, we can inspire others to prioritize integrity, transparency, and accountability as we look forward to a nation where leaders uphold the highest standards of ethics and governance. I wish you a successful event. Thank you so much.
We all know that without integrity, there's no way governance can actually happen in the manner that Nigerians can actually feel and hold also people to account. But over the years, some people have decided to ensure that this foundation of helping to create trust in Nigeria is dismantled through the use of divisive means, which is ethnic, religious, and so competency is not needed. All you need to do is to apply those things that continue to divide people and divert attention. So as a result of that, you perpetuate discrimination and marginalization of people. You also continue to have a divided loyalty. So the country is not important. What is important is the people who are manipulating you. So they don't talk about the country, they talk about their ethnic or religious or even sect within the religion. They engage in also gender exclusion, because when you are using all these divisive things, women continue to suffer. They exclude them, as bringing justification through ethnic and religious thing that is not even there. So, but they perpetuate that. They also use it to, do politics, dirty politics, where development is supposed to go. They will will not, allow it to happen. So these are all the manifestation of, being or not having integrity in governance. I will go into my own, paper. I thought, it's important that we understand that it is absolutely necessary to have integrity in everything that we are doing. People don't respect you, people don't take you serious if there's no integrity in what you are doing. People always look down on you. You may be a big man or a big woman, but people don't have that respect or that recognition for you if they know that you are lacking in that. So in Nigeria, tribalism and religion remain defining yet divisive forces in Nigerian political appointment and representation. While diversity is an asset, its politicization perpetuates inequality and instability. Genuine national integration requires leadership committed to justice, meritocracy, and inclusion beyond ethnic or religious boundaries. Tribalism and religious politics are among the most persistent challenges to Nigerian national unity, political stability, and democratic consolidation. Both are deeply rooted in the country's historical evolution, social structure, and political culture. And that's why we need to work toward correcting those things. We need to, ensure that we dismantle those things that have continued to make us to be seeing ourselves as enemy. We go to the same market, and because there's no special market for any tribal person. When you go to market, everybody is there. When you enter the aircraft, you don't even, everybody is there. So why must it that you must use this too divisive thing to always undermine development in this country, to always undermine fairness in this country? So if you are not from a particular ethnic group or you are not from a particular religious group, even though you merited to be considered for either promotion or appointment, you will not get it. So we know that right from the beginning, tribalism and religious politics in Nigeria are deeply intertwined, often leading to corruption, discrimination, and political instability because of the position are frequently filed based on ethnicity or religion rather than merit. I'm sure you are all aware in this country, when ICPC or EFCC arrested crooks, criminals who have looted this country because of the so-called ethnicity or religion or geographical sentiment. Some people will rally around to say, don't touch him. And that person has actually stolen money that he supposed to provide you with water, with healthcare, system, functional one, with quality education and schools. But you are so blinded that you will not want even justice to happen for what he or she has done. So this is part of the problem. That's why we cannot attain national development. We cannot have even quality leadership in this country. The root of tribal and religious mobilization in Nigeria dates back to the colonial era, when the British colonial administration institutionalized ethnic divisions through indirect rule and regional governance structure. This led to the emergence of dominant regional political parties before independence. The Northern People's Congress, representing the majority of the people in the North, Hausa Fulani Muslim North, the Action Group AG, representing the Yoruba-dominated West, and National Council of Nigerian Citizens, NCNC, dominated by the Igbo Christian East. This pattern entrenched ethnic and religious consciousness as primary basis of political identity. The British colonial policy of indirect rule strengthened local ethnic loyalties rather than fostering a sense of national identity. Upon independence in 1960, the three dominant regions, northern, western, and eastern, were largely divided along ethnic and religious lines. Tribalism and religion in politics mobilization. Tribalism in Nigeria manifests through appeals to ethnic loyalty rather than ideology or policy competence. Political actors use tribal sentiments to secure electoral support, obtain framing politics as a contest between ethnic groups rather than a competition of ideas. This is evident in the formation of ethnically oriented political movements and allocation of political offices through a formal principle like federal character and zoning system meant to balance representation but to obtain reinforcing identity politics. We still have Federal Character Commission. Nigerians are not seeing the balance there. You still see people being ambushed. They deserve to be promoted or they deserve to be given appointment, but because of their ethnic affiliation, they are ambushed. That's how unfair these two divisive things has been, and it has created unnecessary hatred among Nigerians. Ladies and gentlemen, religion is another potent tool in Nigerian political mobilization, particularly in the Muslim majority north and Christian majority south. Politicians frequently explore religious symbols, leaders, and institutions to galvanize support. Religious organizations sometimes act as political pressure groups, endorsing candidates perceived to align with their faith or values. We have seen these religious leaders now, they have become politicians. They don't even talk about God. They talk about endorsing a particular politician. In fact, in the East, if you are not a Catholic, especially in Imo State, you are in trouble. They can actually make sure that you do not win an election. Likewise too, in many other parts of the country, in the north, some part of the north, if you are not going to play the religious politics, no matter how competent you are gone. So with such kind of thing, how do you think you can have a competent leadership, a system that will ensure fairness, honesty, and bring in leaders that will be accountable? It's going to be extremely difficult because you are blinded by those emotions, and they are not even picking people who are even competent or qualified. It will have been a different thing altogether if the religious or the ethnic groups are saying that, okay, this person, based on his or her track record, based on his competency, based on his honesty, based on his ideas and progressive, thing and evidence-based, thing that he has done or she has done, we will support that kind of person. But they will just go and carry completely, in fact, a corrupt person, and they will be promoting him because of that identity. And that's why you see we have trouble in government. Many people that have gone into the state assembly or national assembly were not considered on the basis of merit. It is sometimes either not ethnic consideration, it is religious consideration, or completely even because they now commercialize the whole thing. Everything you have to, you have to pay. So you have to have looted money for you to even buy the expression form, for you to even be, picked at the party level. You spend billions. One of the strongest determinants of political preference, like I mentioned, in Nigeria, political elites exploit ethnic division to consolidate regional support. So because, what's his name? The late Buhari, because he's from the north, so you see some people from the north, they just want to support, whether right or wrong. Bola Ahmed Tinubu, because he's a Yoruba from the south, people don't want to even bother. Let him continue to punish us. Let him continue to kill us. as long as it's from our tribal thing. But forgetting that there's no different market for Yoruba, or for Hausa, or for Igbo, or for Igala, or for Inoti. You go to the same market, they have removed the subsidy, which they say they are saving, and all of us are buying the pure. No filling station for Yoruba, no filling station for Gwari, no filling station for Igbo, no filling station for Fulani. This is why we need to wake up and stop this nonsense, because it's not taking us anywhere. It's undermining national cohesion, it's undermining national development, it's undermining Nigerians, to have fairness and demand for accountability. I don't want to bore you with so many things, probably let me, because this is really something that has really caused problem, or is causing problem for us in Nigeria. Some people are complaining now. Not that the other leaders have not done it all, but some people are complaining on the current president that if you look at the entire economic sector, it's not the issue of competence he has looked at. He has looked at, they are from my own people. If you look at the security, even though the other one that left also has done it, Nigerians are complaining. You remove a northern minority, and then you replace him with another Yoruba person. Some people from the northern minority, especially the Christians, are also complaining that the only person that we saw as our own hero, you don't come out. And the people where you say because you remove them, because there's allegation of coup, how comes these other ones you turn them? The IG of police is still there. This one now they made to be the chief of army staff is there. So is it also a competency or a religious or ethnic consideration? The same thing Buhari has also done. So our leaders, they have not helped to dismantle and remove this thing that has continued to create mistrust in Nigeria. If you go to any office now, if the head is Igbo, be rest assured that there is likely more Igbo people there. If it is a Hausa man, be rest assured that the Hausa or the Northerners will be dominant in this country. Likewise to the Yorubas. In fact, at the expense of even the minorities, because the minority tribes have not grown that good, wings, so they can easily ambush them. What a Yoruba, Igbo, Hausa Fulani will do, even though Fulani are protesting that they are not Hausa Fulani, because they didn't share anything with the Hausa, they don't even understand Hausa. But in Nigerian politics, you call them Hausa Fulani. But they are resisting, they say they are not Hausa, so why are you? Which is true, they don't speak, majority of them, they don't speak Hausa. In fact, they don't like you to call them, you just like calling Yoruba is Igbo. That's how the Fulani are feeling in this country when you call them Hausa Fulani. But what I'm trying to say is that this application of ethnic sentiment or religious sentiment sometimes is against even the minorities. I've always have a belief that even though sometimes ruling elites are the same, but if you are an Igbo man or a Yoruba man or a Hausa Fulani man, you will have more advantage to actually exercise this dominance, this ethnic dominance, compared to maybe perhaps an Igala man. The three will just join to crush him. Or if you are Ijo, although Ijo is a little bit higher, they are not just people to push away. But in Nigerian governance, they are still minority. So they can easily be cheated. Like we have seen in many places, there is no fairness in this distribution of appointments. So it is a very dangerous thing that we are doing, because it is helping to ensure that appointments, even allocation of resources, are not done on the basis of need assessment for national development. Resource allocation in Nigeria, whether in terms of distribution of public infrastructure or social services, has also been shaped by this ethnic and religious consideration. And that is making development to be difficult in Nigeria. Because if you are going to consider ethnicity as the basis for national development, then definitely you are not ready to develop the country. Even contracts, for you to get contract, they will also look at that ethnic and religious consideration. So it is important that Nigerians wake up, especially the young people, to resist this control based on ethnic, religious sentiment, because it's making them not to see one another as a fellow brother and sisters. And when you step out of Nigeria, if you go to Ghana or Niger, they will still call you a Nigerian. If you go to any embassy, they don't care where you come, you are Nigerian. But the leaders are not promoting Nigeria. Many of them, they don't promote Nigeria. They only promote this ethnic and religious thing. And it is not good for us as citizens, and it is important that we actually do everything possible to discourage that. So it is important, that we make sure that we discourage this use of this sentiment, because it perpetuates inefficiency, it erodes meritocracy, and it actually helps discourage even diversity. Tribalism, and religion, have a serious constraint on competence and leadership in Nigeria. This, we have seen it in many aspects in this country, because we have seen its consequences, because it undermines integrity that we have been talking about. It also encourages hypocrisy. It deepens mistrust, patronized client system, corruption and nepotism, as leaders feel obligation or obliged to only pay attention to the ethnic or religious thing. It also weakens our institutions, because when our institution is supposed to be run professionally, and then you carry all these people who did not deserve to be there, but because of their ethnic or their religious consideration, you have actually undermined the functionality and the ability to strengthen the institution. And this is manifesting in many places in our institution today. We have a lot of work to do. We cannot allow these characters to destroy our country. We have many Nigerians, even those who Japa, many of them, they are also regretting, because when you even go there, you are not fit. You are not. You are still, not even second class. You are still a non-entity. Even if you get the passport, they will still go and write originally Nigerian. So you see, no matter how much you want to, I'll round up here. No matter how much you want to, dismiss your country, that American passport you have, it will still go and check. You will still see Nigeria. That Nigeria is still there. And In the last 30 years, I've been traveling all over the world. I have seen some Nigerians that made progress in abroad. But I tell you, if you see some Nigerians who were doing very well here, sold their properties, Japan, many of them, you don't know, in fact, you will not like to see them. They are prostrated. They are in a very, very bad shape. As well as I am, I cannot remember, let me say, in the last 20 years, I cannot remember when I traveled a Nigerian living in Europe, America, or UK did not ask me for money. As poor as I am. So if everybody is doing well, why is it that they are even begging you for $50, $20? I'm not saying that Nigerians are not doing very well in abroad. There are many of them that have gone, that did proper migration, got proper job, they are doing very well. But there are so many people that were misinformed, that thinking when you Japa, your problem is solved. That's not true. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, there are so many things that I want to say, but I've been asked to round up. Will I be allowed to read the recommendation? Okay. So, these are the few recommendations that I suggested. We need to promote merit based on leadership by strengthening institutional mechanisms that emphasize competence and track record over identity politics. We cannot be recruiting policemen and security people and all these things on the basis of this incompetency, and then everything is jaga jaga. Fostering public awareness on the danger of identity-based politics through civic education while promoting national values, tolerance, and citizenship over identity politics. We need to, have targeted electoral reforms that discourage identity politics through proportional representation and multi-party coalition, which they are now trying to even kill now. Everybody is joining the ruling party, not because they like Tinubu, not because they like the APC, because they believe that when they are in the ruling party, they will share the money with them, allegedly. Encouraging interfaith and inter-ethnic dialogue to enhance understanding, cooperation, and share values in leadership discuss. Cultivate integrity through ethnic training, through ethics training, enforcement of anti-corruption laws, as well as independent and strong oversight institutions. Engaging constitutional reforms that strengthen mechanisms that ensure inclusion without defining ethnic divide. Promoting objective reporting that discourages hate speech and identity-based propaganda. Tackling the underlying drivers of tribal tension, such as poverty, inequality, and resource scarcity, is essential for long-term stability and cohesion. Promoting youth encouragement to foster pan-Nigerian political consciousness among the younger voters through educational and social movement. Strengthen Federal Character Commission to ensure merit-based and equitable representation. Promote institutional-based transparency in appointment process to reduce favoritism. Promotion of inclusive governance through equitable resource distribution and representation at all levels. Encouraging sense of ownership through transparent budgeting and resource distribution. That is public tracking of projects and allocation to discourage favoritism. Strengthen anti-corruption bodies and depoliticize public service recruitment and physical transfer. Ladies and gentlemen, these are some of the things that I believe if we are able to do, we will be able to have, a more conscious citizens that will not bother with all these divisive things that has made us not progress. Nigeria would have made more progress if we did not give too much attention to this thing that has actually proven to be completely not much useful in governance in Nigeria. I want to thank you for listening to me. Thank you.
I know that the hall will not be full, because when you discuss things like this, in Nigeria, you won't see anybody. If you doubt it, post any meaningful article online. You will see 3 likes, 2 comments. But post something stupid and rubbish, nakedness, you will see 3 million views and 1,000 comments and insults. And that's why today we have more comedians than those who are willing to laugh. Everybody is a skit maker. And we Nigerians are very, wonderful people. We create fun out of everything. And they'll tell you, as a country don't hard now, make we create laughter. So it's on that note, they say you stand on existing protocols, but me, because of my weight, I know if you stand on existing protocol because if it break. So permit me to maintain the protocol already established. And on that note, I am asked to speak on integrity is everything. Integrity. Integrity, according to the Oxford Language Dictionary, is the quality of being honest and having strong moral principle. Being honest and having strong moral principle. You will ask yourself, first and foremost, is Nigeria built on honesty and strong moral principle? According to Fidel Castro, he said, in a land of lawlessness, it becomes illegal to be law-abiding. So if you are in a country that is not built on integrity and strong moral principle, what will encourage you as a human being, as a citizen, to even want to have strong moral principles? Because those days they will tell you the patient dog eat the fattest bone after the hustlers don't eat the meat. That's the situation in our country. And so in such a situation, why would you want to? Why do I have to bother myself? Because I remember as a young man, my father worked in the ministry, retired, and then almost every month you see him travel to Benin from Auchi to pursue pension. And then one day the man called all of us and said, in your life, don't ever work for government. In your life, don't dream of working for government. Because you put 35 years of your youthful life into a service, and then at the end of the day you're chasing that little pension that government owe you. They're running after it. Today verification, tomorrow another verification. So it becomes frustrating. So but in all, the question is, if you don't, we all die. If we decide all of us do as we like. I don't know how many of you remember this late minister, Ocholi.
Yes.
If the man had known that if he would become a minister, he would die in a road accident, if he would not take that appointment. A lady once told me that if she knew that they promote the husband to Major General, he would die for plane crash, where generals were going for a summit. That she would have begged that he would remain for that. And with all due respect, if Machido knew that if he becomes emir, he would die in a plane crash, if not be emir. But it was one person's mistake somewhere. Plane when supposed to go for service. You collect small things, say no, you can just get to Abuja and back. Tomorrow you will do them. Lack of integrity killed a lot of people because we said, we don't care. So if all of us here, if you knew that for not having integrity, something would happen to you, I know you would want to hold that integrity becomes your Bible, your Quran, that you maintain every day. And that is the situation of Nigeria today. If you, no matter your how much of the level you attain in government, someday he will come down, even Tinubu will come down from that seat someday. What would you want to be remembered for? According to Martin Luther King, he says, even if you are a street sweeper, sweep the street so well that when you leave, let it be said that here lies the remain of a great street sweeper, that he swept the street so well that after him, no other person could do it that way. And Dan Agbese once wrote, knowing when to die. Some of us that knew Buhari in the 80s, when he came the first time, I talked about somewhere, I said, the Buhari we knew, the Buhari you know, and the Buhari that died. If Buhari had not come back as president, some of us today would have been the best president Nigeria never had. But he came, everything he worked for, everything he labored for, he blew it at the altar of leadership. The Buhari we knew and the Buhari you remember are two different people. That's the same thing with integrity. And so on that note, I will start by saying, there are three sets of human beings in every society, in every country. Depends on the one you are. And the first are the missionaries. The second are the mercenaries. And then the third are the missing in action. The missionaries are the ones with integrity. That no matter how bad a situation is, they look out for the positive. How can we redeem? How can we fix this? What would I want to be remembered for? What do I do to remedy this situation? We can't continue like this. Not for me. I shouldn't just accumulate wealth. Accumulate wealth, send your children abroad, and then they finish. Someday, they are going to come back here, and those children you refuse to train, or you refuse to pay their lecturer, some of them becomes kidnappers and armed robbers, and then your son is driving innocently. And then one of those boys who you refuse to pay their lecturer, you might not have any business with him. He kidnaps him, and out of anger or fear, he pulls the trigger. All your efforts with the money you have stolen, everything goes like that. I remember a client of mine, Otumba. Otumba was in politics in the First Republic, an associate of Chief Obafemi Awolowo, made so much money, had properties in GRA Ikeja. And so, at old age, Otumba invited his three sons, one in Canada, another one in America, another one in London. He came and said, Oshoma, I need to take them around so that they can know the properties in case I go, so they know, where my properties are. So we went around the ones in GRA, and then one of the sons said, Dad, let's go for lunch at Sheraton. So why there? He asked the man said, we're not done. We will still get to see one or two in Ikoyi. The boy said, Dad, why don't you sell these things and give it to charity? Otumba started crying. He called me aside and started crying. And he said to me, if these children know what I went through to get these things and keep for them, he won't be telling me what he's telling me. But they are living in a different society where they have learned integrity and values, principles, contentment, different from the one that their father tried to keep for them. So for them now, they're missionaries. It's not about how much you have, but how many people. And that's why he talked about, he didn't say give family members. He said give to charity. We don't need it. But here, still, we keep acquiring wealth. I said to Comrade Adams Oshomole, when he was building that his massive house in Iyamo, my former governor, I said on Arise TV, and I said, if this man visits Benson Alegbe's house, Benson Alegbe was Speaker of Bende State House of Assembly 1979 to 1983. Benson Alegbe's house, massive white house, rotting away in Sabogidaura with grasses and what have you. If only Oshomole could just visit Benson Alegbe's house and see what the ruin it has become. The luxuries of today are the necessities of tomorrow. I remember as a young law graduate, I wanted to drive a BMW 3 Series. That was my dream. But today, they dash me the car. I go ask the person whether they cost me. You will get there. All these things you see today, someday, some of the governors today did not expect. Thank God the special advisor to the governor of Kogi is here. He asked your governor if he expected 10 years ago that he would be seated where he is today. He was just doing his own thing. But today he's a governor. Everybody runs around to worship him. I remember when Uduagan was governor, invited me, and I told him, sir, I don't have the time. I did go somewhere, I did go burial. He told me, he said, do you know what people do to see governor? I said, now people where they find governor, not me. I know they find governor. Now who wants to see governor? So if we imbibe those kind of, that person, a human being. I used to have two, you call them area boys in Lagos, but they are my friends, very close. Anywhere I go to, they follow me. The only thing I tell them is, this man seated here is not different from you. The only thing is, he prepared, and he had the opportunity, he grabbed it. If you are not prepared, the opportunity come, you go miss it. So then, the second set of people, the mercenaries. The mercenaries, you have a lot of them now in Nigeria. To them, for them is, the thing don't spoil, make me just spoil it. Let me go repair it. Like Benedict once told his son, state where don't spoil TT, now you want to repair it, bring the money. So, the mercenaries are always looking for how will they collect my own. Do you know who I am? You know that mentality is in Nigeria. Do you know who I am? If you ask me, do you know who I am? It means you are nobody. When they say no thoroughfare, that means there's a road there. If you ask me, do you know who I am? If I need to know who you are for you to be important, it means you are nobody. And if you say you construct a road, that's why sometimes I laugh government people. You constructed a road, you have not done anything. Because if you construct the road, people will see it. Those using it will say, yes, they constructed a road. If, for example, you need to go to abroad to woo foreign investors to come to your country, and you have not done anything. You are not going to woo foreign investors. You are going to do something else. Because in the era of internet, people are no longer going abroad to woo investors. They say if you preach good gospel, you sing good songs, and you do good deeds in integrity, if you like, build your house in the thick of forest, the world will create a path to you. So if you do manual pipe ball water and you go abroad to look for foreign investors to invest in it, you have not done anything. You're taking money abroad to go and invest, and those people will be laughing at you. They'll collect the money. Recently, we were told that the aid that American government gave to us, was it last year, was half of the money fee for rejected visa applicants. So they weren't doing us a favor, they were giving to us our money, the money that we're using to apply for visa. They'll deny you, they don't give refund. You can't negotiate from a point of weakness. I was in a meeting, sorry I must say this, I was in a meeting in Miami, Nigerian officials. I don't want to call the department. Then they hear, because passing through the ministry just now, I felt bad. A ministry The offices are nothing to write home about. And you had Nigerian officials, and then you had the Miami-Dade officials. And what were we discussing? Collaboration. The airport in Miami is managed by the local county, local government. But here, our own are federal. So you had federal officials on this side, Senate committee chair for so, House of Rep chair for so and so, and then here, Board of County Commissioners, local government people. And our officials were telling them, thank you for the good work you are doing in Africa. For a loan that you don't even need, the terms and conditions of that loan, you have not even read it. You are already thanking them for the good work they are doing in Africa. At the end of the day, even the mayor wasn't there, was the vice mayor. At the end of the day, guess what? They were asking the Nigerian representative there, where we see good properties for Miami. Properties for another man's land. So you have all of these issues, no integrity. The first speaker talked about the fact that appointment now is not based on merit, but on who you know. The bearer is from me, place he will cope. At every level. So you have a very few people, very few, who are struggling to create a society with integrity. And then you have those who are missing in action. They're not sent. Waiting concern them, concern Nigeria. So for them, it is about, concern me. If may I get chance. And somebody told me once, he said, now does it talk? When you get there, you will do the same thing. Because we have been told consistently, we have seen people who also comes to this part of the table and preach good gospel, sing good songs, and then they get there, they do the same thing, exactly the same thing they once criticized. And so the people say, if you get there, you will do the same. No, you are not different from the rest that have come before. But, like I said, if you continue to believe that you are not different, you will never be different. And someday, no matter what you acquire, we all collectively destroy the society when we keep quiet, when we decided that, okay, there are more, let us not be different. And for my brothers here who are in public office, the question is, what would you want to be remembered for? Is it for that man with integrity, or for somebody who just came, did what every other person did, and nothing? Would you want to write your name in gold in the sand of time, that when you leave, people will say, oh, just like Bisi Onabanjo, Professor Ambrose Ali, Alhaji Lateef Jakonde, to date, we still call the names of these people as people who led, with integrity. So at this level, despite the destruction of our education curriculum, yes, I'm rounding up now, despite the destruction of our education curriculum, where now you are taught to be job seekers instead of job creators, you can still stand out to be different. I can read names of politicians, of army officers who ruled this country at 29, 31, 35. At my age, Obasanjo had retired as president of Nigeria. So, you are not too young to make a difference. But the only thing is, when you get there, will you be a man or woman of principles and insist that the right thing must be done, or will you just pass as a mercenary who eventually ends up as missing in action? Thank you very much.
You're not too young to make a difference. I think both speakers agree that integrity is not a very juicy, in quotes, topic to talk about. And in spite of this fact that it's not very juicy,
integrity as an underlying factor for the growth of any economy and its sustainability cannot be undermined. Why am I saying this? Already we have a defective foundational system generally in Africa. From 19 1960 to 1997, there were 70 coups in 32 nation states of Africa. That is down to the overthrow of Mobutu Sese Seko Kubungbendu Wazabanga of Zaire. And by 2008, Sub-Saharan Africa had as many as 81 military coups and at least 125 failed coups, including electoral coup in quote. Now, this suffices that Africa's sustainability economically, politically, socially, and otherwise have been existing on a defective foundation of leadership. And until we get our leadership right, the pyramid of our existence will continue to have the bite from such. With the complexity, or let me call it simple complexity of Nigerian politics, it is viewed that we cannot have a model that can be said a fit-them-all standard for our daily existence. Thus, sustainability with respect to integrity as the standard for our performance becomes a very difficult task. Thus, it must be engaged in through so many paths. Why did I say this? By the time we leave here, I can say, assumingly, that a few people will even remember the things that we had said here because of the existentialist tension that you are going to face outside. Thus, pressuring your understanding and conceptualization of every of the details that are required for your daily performance as a citizen. Now, going to the concept of the topic and with respect to integrity, it is important that a time has come for us to look inward, take an introspect to how far we have come and how far we are left to go. Yes, we have a poor foundation. There's nothing we can do about that anymore. But going further, it is important that, like I told the core members that I trained yesterday, Benjamin Disraeli once said something, that youths are the trustee of posterity. Already we are confronted with posterity. And to be able to build a nation that we are going to be proud of, we must go back to fixing the foundation, no matter how defective it is. The last speaker once talked about those names we held so high those days. As at the time Tafawa Balewa was killed in the coup, it was discovered that he had only one wristwatch and a house somewhere in his community. This was the man that has entitlement to all available wealth in our economy as at then. Yet, he was not frivolous about it. They tried to build a country that will be sustainable. Ahmadu Bello did his best and introduced a policy of one industry per local government in northern Nigeria. There was no sustainability. Those things died. I grew up, Ida in Kogi State has sanitary ware, where they produce sanitary ware, where they make these ceramic toilets as part of those projects. A whole lot of other facilities. I grew up in my community in Ankpa local government. As far back as the 80s, I used to take my baths with taps that rush and gush with embarrassing forces of water. Today, the local government chairman cannot even construct a gutter. Thanks to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for his effort in the Supreme Court for granting autonomy to the local government. Yet, how well have Nigerian citizens taken time to engage? Everyone here comes from a local government. We have Freedom of Information Act. None of us bothers to ask the money that comes to our local government, what is being done with it? The local government I mentioned earlier, ANPA, received 636 million for August. As I'm talking to you, the only project present in that local government is a World Bank project that is ongoing. But I know a day of accountability is coming. A day of questioning is coming. And a day of answering also is coming ahead. Now, let's not deviate from the topic, integrity. Each and every one here, like I have said yesterday, have the task of personal skills development. That's the first thing you have to do. In a society that you are backed left and right by pressure, economic pressure, social pressure, peer pressure, most importantly, it will now behove on you yourself to take a reflection. Am I going to be in the bandwagon of people that will not make the country progress? Or I'm going to be among those people that are just going to speak about what everybody says? Well, no be me spoil Nigeria. Or I no be Jesus, I no come to rescue Nigeria. If everybody keeps saying that, I believe one day we are going to watch the roof collapse on all of us. But the most important thing is, at every point in time in life, no matter how old you are, no matter how inexperienced you are, no matter your level of education, no matter your gender, you still have the space of either returning from your far end of being corrupt to being a good person, or from your good state of being a good person to remaining the good person that you are and be an influence to others. And it is important that we create a network, like I said yesterday also, of good people. That is what is lacking now. Our presidents from Africa attended hunger sometimes this year, United Nations General Assembly. And there was a striking thing that happened. While Donald Trump came there to blast all of them, they kept quiet and were watching. When it was time for African presidents to speak, some of them were sleeping, others were playing with their phone, others were talking, which means we do not take ourselves serious. It begins with me, it begins with you. Until we have now started developing the focus of rebuilding our country, until we have started injecting the necessary energy for transformation, until we are able to speak the truth to ourselves that we are not where we are supposed to be as a country, until we are able to do a peer review of our country with others that are even far younger. Rwanda came out of crisis in 1994. But today, Rwanda has a lot of firsts. During COVID-19, you are all aware that Rwanda was delivering food to homes with drones. You are all aware that today, Rwanda has a lot of manufacturing industry that are indigenous. Volkswagen is producing some of their vehicles in Uganda today. Now, coasting down to a leadership mentality for the followers, because we have always thought that it is the president that have failed, it is the minister that have failed, it is the PAMSEC that have failed. No. If the country fails, all of us have failed. What are you expected to do as a citizen? As a citizen, for us to be able to have a sustainable integrity quotient, it is important that each and every one invest in is on our effort, like I said yesterday again, that you must be able to speak out at all times. Edmund Burke said, when the bad people conspire, let the good combine, else they fall one by one, an unpitied sacrifice in a contemptible struggle. We are creating a community of good people from this attempt to create continuous engagement on integrity. Just like the last speaker said, we are talking about integrity, and you have a few people here today. Make a banner tomorrow on how to travel to America. This hall will be full. In fact, attach costs of symposium. This hall will not contain people. But until the reorientation have reached and rocked the last stage, we are not going to be able to achieve the impact of integrity that we desire as a people. Now, what are the major factors that have affected our approach? The first thing we will always say is bad leadership. You cannot have an office where you hear people steal billions and you wake up tomorrow morning. It takes the grace of God and strength of character for you to be able to hold your head high above the waters. Of course, even if you don't want to, one of your fellow will come and say, you know what carry. Whereas this is what is meant for the public. But until we are able to resist, I told a story of how I rejected 10 million as at 2001 as a zonal coordinator of NANS. NANS that people run into today to make money. We were running from public money then. It was expected of us to demonstrate against an attempt impeachment of one of the speakers there. Then a man drove to me, I won't mention him, that you are the zonal coordinator of NANS Zone C. I say yes. He said, okay, I was sent to you. That 504 car there. Then we use 504 as our official car. I already have my own, given to me by University of Agriculture, Makurdi, as my official car. He said, that car there is money inside. I said, what's the money meant for? He said, they want to impeach somebody at National Assembly. And it is expected that we roll out students against that impeachment. I said, well, I would have loved to take the money, but I will have to go and consult with the Senate of NANS Zone C. That means I will have to call all the schools in Zone C, which was not central, including Kwara and Maiduguri, Borno State then. So you know what it takes. Before I could go to all those schools, because as at that time GSM was not common to most of us. He said, no, I don't want anybody to just carry students from UniJOS or UniAgric, your school, and go to Abuja and demonstrate. I said, me, I cannot do that. So one of my officials that was with me was pinching me. Nadeko, collect this money now. They're not going to do you anything. I said, no, my conscience will let me take this money. But unfortunately, the NANS president then took that money when did the protest. I don't know of what effect. He took the car and he kept using that car until. So what am I trying to bring out there? It has not changed my person till now. It has not added to me. If I had collected that money that time, it wouldn't last till now. In fact, the way I would spend it wouldn't have been the way I would spend if it was earned. Abraham Lincoln was told his son that $1 found is not worth 10 earned. $1 earned is worth 10 found, rather. So I think in moving forward, it has come to the stage that as a people, we develop, one, the strength of character. Two, build a network of good people. Three, be able to speak truth to power. What you speak against, you can't do. If you keep on challenging people that they are corrupt, the day you attempt corruption, God will always expose you quickly. It will bring you to a point that say, hey, you that used to say this man is corrupt, this one, see you now. The fear of that will keep us in focus. Then finally, I want to say something that as youths, let's not be too much in a hurry to want to make it. There's a whole life ahead of us. If posterity smiles at you, in less than 10 minutes, God will create a change that will make you a different person from who you are 10 seconds before then. I use myself as an example again. Middle of this year, on the 30th of the half of this year, I was in my room and I just opened my phone. I saw a text. This is your car. I never asked for a car. I never begged for it. Somebody sent me a car without asking for it. You see, these things, it connects to your spirit. As much as you continue doing good, good will always come to you. Just like the law of attraction. If you keep on saying things against corruption, one day you are going to eat the fruit of it. And I would like to end by saying the quotes of Martin Luther King Jr. Getting this done cannot be done singularly. I kept talking about network. Thanks to ICPC, they have always been forthcoming each time we reach out to them on program. This is not the first program, and I'm intending that ICPC have good presence. Always run to them. You can create clubs, anti-corruption clubs. Tell them to come to train people in your units. And before you know, we are creating a ripple effect and growing young minds that will be able to change the narrative of this country. At the end, maybe your singular effort will generate the needed paradigm shift that will bring this country to the extent of saying that we are a little bit or even corruption-free economy. And what am I going to say? Like I said, Martin Luther King Jr. once said, which is the end of my presentation here, that we all are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. Human progress never rolls in on wheels of inevitability. It comes through the tireless effort of people willing to be co-workers. Ending with this means that each one of you should be the one to sharpen the next person in the fight against corruption and attempt to build in integrity in our society. Thank you and good afternoon.
I didn't expect that I would still be called upon to discuss the issue of integrity, because the last speakers had discussed it exhaustively. However, we are teachers. When we teach in the classrooms, we still take students to the laboratories to run practicals. I think what I shall do now is to highlight living examples of integrity, the effects of integrity in our society, and the benefits of integrity to those who possess it. However, before I start, I must tender an unreserved apology on behalf of my Vice Chancellor, who had hoped and wished to be here in person, but she could not because of the demands of our office. But because of the love and respect she has for this organization, she asked me to stand in her place. And here I am. I don't know. Professor Mrs. Nnannaya Oti, who is popularly known as Professor Nnenna Oti in our media space, had been a Vice Chancellor for 2 years before she was sent on a national assignment. That national assignment was to be the returning officer to Abia State during the 2023 gubernatorial election. If not for that election,
Professor Mrs. Nnanaya Oti would have ordinarily served in obscurity as a vice chancellor. But because of that assignment, she stood on what she believed and still believes. She stood on the values. And I want to tell you that Professor Mrs. Nnanaya Oti is just like any one of us. Integrity, of course, is a choice. It is a choice. She had alternatives. She refused to choose other alternatives. She chose to stand on the platform of truth. We too can stand on the platform of truth. Again, we shouldn't be bothered or swayed when we want to do the right thing, because we are bothered about what the people will say. You must live for something. If you live for good governance, you don't compromise anything that will come against it. And like Christians, we look up to God. We don't bother what the people will say. And I want to conclude this by relating an article I once read that told the story of a young concert pianist who was to perform in public for the first time. The audience sat enthralled as beautiful music flowed from his disciplined fingers. The people could hardly take their eyes off this young virtuoso. And as the final note faded, the audience burst into applause. Everybody was screaming and clapping and standing, except one man up front. The pianist walked off the stage, crestfallen. But the stage manager praised the performance. He said, "You were wonderful. That was very terrific." The youth said, "I was no good. It was a failure." I said, "What's the matter with you? Can't you look at the audience? Everybody is standing, except one old man up front." "Yes," said the youth, dejectedly. "And that one old man is my teacher. If we make Christ our beacon and our role model, and we look up to him, we don't give a damn what the world is saying. Let us be guided by this thing. Let integrity become our watchword." Thank you. God bless us.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Today, I'll be sharing insights, achievements, more of achievements on election integrity in Africa and, of course, in our home country, Nigeria. Essential part of a free, fair, and of reliable election. You all will agree with me. And in achieving this, a lot of things need to be in place. We are culpable in one way or the other, by participating and by not participating. Yeah, we all followed up. I was on Grand Abia, but I was following up. And it took integrity to keep the tension down, to douse the tension. If not, Abia would have been on fire. Right. These elections are therefore fought with vote buying. Vote buying is a cankerworm. It's a big, big problem. But of course, you cannot buy votes without the stakeholders. Right. I'll speak deep. I'll speak very deep because I have some authorities behind me to speak the truth and nothing but the truth. So yeah, I see the core members. Thank you for bringing them up. They are one of the major stakeholders in our election. The most critical stakeholders. They handle the election. The election is with them. They own it. Right. I'll come to that. I'll explain how they own it. We have 5 major critical stakeholders that their integrity we must put at stake if we must sustain democracy in this part of the world. Right. And you agree with me that aside vote buying, Ballot snatching slowly has gone down. You can't snatch ballot anymore. Even if you snatch it, you have to snatch the people as well to ensure that while you turn print, the ballot papers, they align with the number of accredited voters. So some sort of checkpoints have been put in place by the EMB. And of course, forging of collated results, that's the midstream. So we have three streams, the downstream, midstream, and the upstream. Right. The collation is the midstream. That's where another big problem is. Because how? Why? Our collation is the manual. But a lot of us don't know. IREV is not collating results. IREV is just the result viewing portal. The collation is the manual. And that is where 1 becomes 9 or 10. Either you make it 9 or you put a 0 before it. And it goes all the way. So there's still compromise there. And with due respect, our core members are still involved in that process all the way. So they are very, very critical. It's a good thing we have them here. I'm so happy. When I saw them, I was excited. But I hope other stakeholders are here. And of course, the ICPC, they are also a major stakeholder. Right. Poorly conducted elections can be what? Catastrophic. I'm sure you're all seen the views. Catastrophic to any civic setting. Therefore, conducting free, fair, credible elections is critical to the peace and development of any society. We can't talk about democracy if we don't have fair and credible elections. Democracy is at stake. And the bedrock of democracy starts with the integrity of the handlers, the electoral process handlers. Have you ever had the opportunity to participate in our election? Either maybe as a party personnel representative or working with the election management body or security, any of the law enforcement. You see that the process of selection is very porous. Elections are coming up in Anambra in a few weeks. People are already paying money to participate in the law enforcement because they know it's going to be business as usual. They're going to make money. So we need to change that mindset. So it should start from the process of the selection of the handlers. The handlers are the INEC, the NYC, the political parties, the police, the civil defense. These are the 5 major stakeholders. They own our democracy. If they miss it, the outcome is what you see. Buying of jeeps for everybody, etc. Right, which is wrong. Right. So we must focus on these 5 critical stakeholders. The next slide, please. Right. In going forward, in doing that, the African Electoral Integrity Initiative partnered with the government. You can't leave the government. It took 7 months to get the attention of the government under President Muhammadu Buhari. In fact, the only place they didn't send me to was my ancestor's grave. I went through all the vetting, all the processes to ensure that we come clean, because we're talking about integrity here, and we're able to get the attention of the government. And that was what led to the Electoral Integrity Promotion Alliance, which of course is an initiative of the African Electoral Integrity. And in implementing it, the president, through the secretary to the government, you won't believe that President Muhammadu Buhari actually approved Election Integrity Promotion Alliance before 23 general elections. And working with the Political Research and Constitutional Matters Department, OSGF, we unveiled the African Electoral Integrity Initiative and of course the Election Integrity Promotion Alliance. The next is to mobilize stakeholders, your stakeholders, including the INEC. Right. This is an integrity summit. It's not about election integrity. But you cannot talk anything integrity without the core, which is democracy. Because it gives all of us the opportunity to err. If we're in a military regime, I'm sure you will not be able to get approval to organize this program. Right. Because integrity, like my co-speaker said, is a big word. Right. It starts from the foundation. So we're happy we're in democracy. And if we're able to sustain electoral integrity, we can now sustain the integrity at large. Because democracy will give us all the opportunity to speak, make our meaningful contributions. And also to promote voter education, which is critical. The previous election, 2023 election, 80 million registered voters, only 23 million participated. Imagine a country of 80 million registered voters, the person that was declared winner, just 8 million votes. That's not an election. You agree with me? That's about 10% or less of the total number of voters. So we must ensure that we vote and we participate. Right. And also, ethical conduct. I keep saying it. The critical stakeholders, they are right here. ICPC, I think, is still around, or maybe it's gone. The MPF, I'm not seeing them yet. And organizer, please, next time, we want to work with you closely. We know we got this information, but we have them all the critical stakeholders. We can pull strings and bring them all to the table. Right. Engage in public sensitization. And of course, 2027 is just around the corner. The holidays are here. By January, we'll be facing the new tax law and campaign will start. Take it or leave it. One of the parties, they're going in for their primaries this November. After then, political season has started. So there's a lot we all need to quickly engage. And in doing that, I've highlighted a few things we need to do. Working with GADI and other stakeholders that are here. Please, the next slide. I have limited time. Right. So the framework, there's an institutional framework, like I said. Right. It's on the African Electoral Integrity Initiative. Working with PRACA, which is the Political Research and Constitutional Matters, we've designed a framework bolster EIP's authority and credibility. Right. So there's an established authority. If I'm to invite you for a meeting on election integrity, you get a letter from the presidency. How will you feel? You honor it. So that has been established. So some sort of authority is established. Because in this region, you need authority to make things happen. Not always financial authority, but sometimes political authority to turn things around for good. And of course, that will enhance stakeholders' engagement, which is what we are doing. So these are the stakeholders. You will imagine what it means to pull these strings. Right, it wasn't easy. Yeah, now we have the critical stakeholders. You can see them. The number one there is the police. They own the election. They move the materials from production to polling units and bring it back to storage. You can imagine the role of the police. But you agree with me, during the elections, before, during, and after the elections, what is the process of enlisting the police people? What is the mindset? Are they going in to help sustain democracy, or they are going in to make money? Can someone just please answer that question? Let's be free. I'm sure the floor is free. Or they are going in to make money. So there's a mindset. And if that mindset is not changed, if we don't work towards amending that mindset, it's going to be difficult for them to handle the process. Because their own integrity must first be at stake. Then, of course, we have the state service. ICPC is there, they have a critical role to play. The EFCC, they are not here, they have a critical role to play in terms of integrity. Right. Then we're not leaving out the NSCDC. NYC, you can see they are there. Yaga is there. Plak is there. Yakubu, Goodluck Jonathan, and of course NUJ. We've been able to mobilize these stakeholders to a round table. And we'll be having series of meetings, and these meetings are slowly yielding results. And I can assure you, between now and 27, you'll see the change. In the process, you see the change. You get to the polling unit, you will notice, yes, integrity is involved. The next slide, please. Yeah. So that was the first roundtable meeting. These are critical stakeholders from these agencies and organizations that I've just mentioned. The next slide. Yeah. These are stakeholders. So we've been engaging at the OSGF level. Right, and we've seen results because these agencies have critical role to play. The EFCC on the day of election, they are looking out for vote sellers or buyers. That's their role. The police and the NSCDC, they're protecting the PUs, the collation centers, and of course, the NYC, they are handling the process. You know what it means to hold a BVAS machine? It's a national assignment, right? And until we add value to our elections don't have, the only value is monetary. There are no other values. We've seen cases after elections, they are finding it very difficult in some states to take care of the core members. Some are stranded, they can't even go back to location. So they have a critical role to play. And we're pushing to see that before you enlisted for an election, to be part of a national election as our general election, you take a pledge to sustain and uphold the integrity of that election. Because if there is compromise in the process, the outcome will always be faulty. Time, please, the next slide. So I'll rush to my conclusion. So you can see, before the appointment, we pushed and were able to reach out through the state to the CMC, not to leave integrity out. The Commander-in-Chief, CMC, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, not to leave out integrity in the appointment of the chairman. The next slide, please. And of course, he has made commitment to us and to Nigerians that he's not going to compromise. But we're not leaving it to him alone. We have to work, strengthen other stakeholders, because he's just at the top. He signs, he gives authorities. But the process can be faulty for my village in Edo State, my polling unit. The process can be compromised from there. And by the time it gets up, the effect will show. So we need to give him all the support. We need to ensure that other critical stakeholders are involved in the electoral integrity process. The next slide, and we've started that. You can see I won't compromise the election integrity. So he understands the mandate, because that was captured before his appointment. That the integrity of the commission, the people, the technology, and the process is critical to sustaining democracy. The next slide, please. And you agree with me, Comrade Adams Oshomole, he's from my state, has pledged. You will see from there, he said, let us stop rigging elections or arming talks. That's coming from Comrade Adams Oshomole. So these are people that we know that the politicians. And slowly we're working under the table, because certain things you must not do on top of the table. You do it under to get their buy-in, complete buy-in, and that's what we're doing. The next slide, please. Of course, the speaker too has pledged. So we're getting there. The red chambers and the green chambers, we're working with them to see there are reforms going on, to see that yes, certain electoral amendments, including the electronic collation, not transmission. That's where we're getting it from. There are two different things. Transmission is the process you scan and send. Collation is where the problem is. I'll tell you all the truth. What you see in the polling unit, before it gets to the ward, a lot of changes. Right. So we're working towards that. The next slide, please. I'm rounding up. So in conclusion, right, the Election Integrity Promotion Alliance, this is not just for them, it's for all of us. We're all going to be part of it. Right. Reaffirms our dedication so far to ensure free, fair, and credible elections in Nigeria ahead of the 2027 general elections. And we're not going to leave out integrity and transparency, credibility and fairness, multi-stakeholders collaboration. So, like I mentioned, I have the privilege of Kadi. We need to re-engage. I want to see, we work closely to have the first stakeholders. We want to work with you. So we have all of us here participating. You all have roles to play. I'll let you know your roles. Civic engagement and voter education. It's critical. We need hands. We need more hands. Right. Then, of course, technology and innovation. A lot of technology has been deployed, but we're pushing for electronic collation. Electronic collation means the result from the polling unit gets to the collation center electronic. So even if you mutilate, you've seen results. I believe some of us have seen result sheets. how it looks. So we're working to see how we can work with them to deploy the best technologies to solve this problem. And of course, EIPA remains steadfast in its mission to safeguarding Nigerian democracy. That's the core. That's what we want to achieve. My next slide. Yes, it's a movement. I cannot say it all here. I was given just 10 minutes. I believe I've taken more than 10 minutes and I've dropped the message. Here we have the slide. If you have your smartphone, you can scan the QR code, volunteer now and be part of this movement. It's a great movement. The whole idea of this movement is to ensure that we hold the critical stakeholders responsible. Right. We don't want to complain no more. Complaining, sitting back at home and complaining will not solve the problem. We all have to be part of the solution, not the problem. And how do we do that? Is to engage. So I'm calling on you all, with the permission of Kadi, scan the QR code and be part of this. It's free. We're going to engage. There are loads and loads of engagement. I will say thank you.
It is a great honor to stand before you today at the National Integrity Summit, a gathering that seeks to rekindle one of the most vital pillars of nation building. Convening this vital summit at a time when our nation is in dire need of moral leadership, civic accountability, and renewed social contract between the government and the governed. The theme of this summit, integrity is everything, captures timeless truth. Integrity is the foundation upon which sustainable societies are built. It is the invisible currency of the trust that binds citizens to their leaders, institutions to their mandates, and progress to purpose. Rebuilding public trust is the cornerstone to national renewal. Public trust is the oxygen of democracy. Without it, governance suffocates. Participation wanes and cynicism thrives. Today, many Nigerians have lost faith in public institutions, not necessarily because they do not believe in government, but because government has too often failed to live up to its expectation. To build trust, we must first restore integrity in leadership and accountability in governance. This requires a deliberate cultural shift from impunity to responsibility, from secrecy to transparency, and from patronage to meritocracy. Integrity must no longer be a moral luxury. It must become a national standard. To combat corruption, we must go beyond just punishment and work towards prevention. Corruption has eaten deep into the moral fabric of our nation. It manifests not only in embezzlement and bribery, but also in everyday compromises that dilute our collective values, from nepotism in employment to falsification of records and manipulation of public processes. To combat corruption effectively, we must redefine it as a developmental crisis rather than a moral one. We must strengthen our institutions, not just our slogans. Enforcement agencies must operate independently and with integrity. Procurement processes must be digitized, public data must be open and accessible, and thank God for the Freedom of Information Act we have today. Most importantly, Anti-corruption must begin from inside out. In our homes, schools, communities, where character is formed and values are shaped. Fighting corruption cannot be the government's responsibility alone. Citizens are the true custodians of integrity, and we've heard that again and again here. Citizens must be involved to ensure that our country is corrupt-free. So we can't just every day say it is the president, the senators, or other public office holders. What are we doing as citizens to ensure that we hold our leaders accountable, to ensure that they do the right thing? As long as citizens remain docile, of course, the leaders too will do whatever they want to do, because we are not engaging and we are not holding them accountable. So all of us are responsible for whatever happened to our country. Fighting corruption cannot be a government responsibility alone. Citizens are true custodians of integrity. When citizens are aware of their rights, duties, and the cost of silence, they become active participants in nation building. At TAF Africa, our experience working with marginalized groups, especially persons with disabilities, has taught us that inclusive governance strengthens integrity. When citizens of all backgrounds are empowered to participate, transparency improves, accountability grows, public trust deepens. I also see lack of integrity and lack of transparency to also involve seclusion, discrimination, or not involving everyone. You know, democracy is a government of the people, for the people, by the people. And who are those people? These people are women, men, persons with disabilities, the elderly, the young. Everyone must come to the table and decide what happens to our nation. And where any segment of society is neglected or ignored, you can't say that we're having truly an inclusive democracy. So everyone must be involved, and we must all be part of it to ensure that everybody is at the table. Integrity is not just a moral concept, it is an economic enabler. Where integrity thrives, productivity follows. Nations that uphold transparency attract investment, innovation, and global respect. We don't need to, one of the speakers have mentioned that when we begin to go to countries to get investors to come and invest in our country, it also shows that something is wrong. Once the right things are put in place, people are attracted, nations are attracted, investors are attracted to come and invest in our nation. Nobody wants to bring their investment where they are not sure of what will come out of it. Corruption, on the other hand, breeds inefficiency, diverts resources, and stifles growth. Every naira lost to corruption is a classroom not built, a hospital not equipped, a youth unemployed or underemployed, or a community left behind. If Nigeria is to realize its full potential, we must see integrity not as a sermon, but as a strategy, a development strategy for national renewal. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, integrity is not inherited, it is cultivated. Rebuilding public trust and combating corruption will demand more than rhetoric. It will require personal example, institutional reform, and collective resolve. Let us therefore leave this summit with a shared commitment to speak truth when it is inconvenient, even when it is inconvenient, to uphold justice even when it is unpopular, and to live with integrity even when no one is watching. Thank you for listening.
I almost got confused when he was doing the introduction. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, my duty here is very simple. You know, we've been talking. So I want us to do a little practical on the issue of integrity. I would have allowed this course to be open because we are going to score ourselves. I would have allowed it to be open, but I want us to use our conscience as the chief judge in this practical session. Your conscience will judge you. So I want to kind of introduce to you the barometer for integrity. You know what the barometer is? It is used to test the level of warmness of a thing. Is that also? So we are going to, so let's apply the barometer, the integrity barometer, to our conscience. Our conscience is going to be our chief judge. But before I go there, let me acknowledge ICPC, because recently ICPC is one organization that has been very proactive. Recently we developed a concept which is called BEAD, Basic Education Anti-Corruption Debate. And I was so impressed with the speed at which ICPC accepted this initiative and gave us all the necessary support. One of the mindsets of ICPC at the moment is that if we must take away some of these social ills, some of these social vices from our system, we must start it from very tender age. So you see, it's like in my place, you know, I'm a chief, so in my place we say, you know, if you bet okra, we don't already own. Is it true? Yeah. You know, when some of these vices have already been embedded into our system, you grow up sometimes, you don't even know what is right and what is wrong. That's the truth. Because you might have been living in a society where right has become wrong, wrong has become right. So how do you even differentiate between what is good and bad? So the idea behind the new leadership at ICPC is to see how they can fertilize the process from a very tender age for young minds who can grow up with that consciousness. Because it looks like the entire generation of people that we have right now have been lost to the vices that we are talking about. In fact, I can tell you that Nigerians are on cue to want to commit their own corruption. True or false? Everybody's on cue. Everybody's on cue. Let's be very fair. Everybody's on cue. Everybody is waiting for that day when you'll be given the opportunity so that you can amass all that you have not seen. In fact, it is worse in public service. Because you discover that you have invested about 30 years of your life serving government, and you just have 5 years to go, and that's when you are now made director. What will happen? When you become director, what will happen? You also want to build mansions. You also want your children to experience the best of life. And so this has become a trend, as a matter of fact. So back to our integrity barometer. So we are going to start on a scale of 1 to 10. And I want you to be very honest. And like I said, I don't want this course to be public. I want this course, let your conscience judge you. In your heart, let it judge you. So if you're here and you feel that on a scale of 1 to 10, your integrity is at 10, just put it in your heart. I would have said lift up your hands. I don't want that, because I don't want us to rig the election. If you are here and you know that you are a man of integrity or you are a woman of integrity, and you can judge your integrity to be at 10%, at 10 on the scale, on the barometer, just imagine. If you are here and you think that your integrity is at 9, you know 10 is the highest mark. I'm sure that none of us even have 10. Even my is at 9. I want your conscience to judge you. If you are here, your integrity is at 8. I also want your conscience to judge you. If you're here and your integrity is 7, if you're here, your integrity is 5. You know, 5 is like the midway, right? And at 5, anything from 5 upward is a pass mark. Is that also? So I can say, if you are from 5 to 10, you are doing very well. If you are here and your integrity is at number 4, if you're here and your integrity is at number 3, if you're here, your integrity is going down, number 2, or you are here, your integrity is number 1, or you are here, your integrity is not even measurable at all. there's a big question mark. What is the call to action? The call to action is that if peradventure you notice that there is no element of integrity on your side, in fact you are waiting to commit something that would undermine your conscience in the next minute, if you are here and you realize that you are low on integrity, I want you, like the pastors will say, go, repent, and sin no more. Of Cherry, I can assure you of that. But one thing I can assure you of, make deliberate effort to say that, see, I know I'm low on integrity. I know that if put to test, it's going to fail me when the time comes. I know that I'm a man. If you are low on integrity, this is a wake-up call. Consciously, intentionally, make up your mind to be a man of integrity. Like they say, integrity is everything.
Each and every one of us has to decide whether you're a person of integrity or not.
Integrity is everything. Integrity is an asset. We shouldn't joke with it. I can tell you for free. The last speaker who posed some question to us, he took a question to us. It's a very powerful strategy for us to go on with. When the speakers were speaking, I was inspired to come up with this. I think it's going to really help us to reflect. And the heading is becoming the heroes of your generation. Past leaders who shaped their society in the pre-COVID and pre-technological eras. However, it is equally essential to understand that leadership effectiveness must be developed in alignment with the realities and challenges of its generation. The inability to adopt leadership capacity to contemporary context may explain why the Buhari of the military era could not fully respond to the complex demands of the Buhari of the civilian era. A reflective question arises when we consider the late Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa. If he were to serve as president of Nigeria in today's world, will he still uphold the same values of modesty and integrity symbolized by his possessions of a single wristwatch and a humble home in his village? This question is not merely rhetorical. It underscores the evolving demands of leadership and tension between traditional virtues and modern pressures. In conclusion, the development of leadership in the 21st century must go beyond admirations for historical figures. It requires deliberate investment in cultivating leaders with the right values, ethics, and character. Leaders who can effectively interpret and respond to the complexities of the present age. Individuals such as Professor Nnenna Otsi and other contemporary Nigerian leaders of integrity exemplify these fusions of principles and adaptabilities. The examples demonstrate that it is still possible to uphold moral convictions and ethical standards when navigating the demands of the modern governance. Becoming the heroes of one's generations, therefore, it is about replicating the past, but about redefining leadership through integrity, innovations, and relevance to the needs of today's society. Thank you very much.
Such a wonderful program. I've had a very, very, very swell time since yesterday up until today.